Our marriage was a masterpiece of conservation. I was a restorer of Renaissance art, a man who spent his days removing centuries of grime to reveal the original intent of the master. My wife, Elena, was a museum curator. We lived our lives in a climate-controlled environment, protected from the harsh light of the sun, preserved in a state of suspended perfection. For 16 years, we were the perfect composition. We had balance. We had perspective. We had a color palette that was muted, tasteful, and harmonious. Our home was a gallery of shared history. The books on the shelves, the specific way the light hit the oak table at breakfast, the quiet, respectful silence we shared while reading in the evenings. I loved Elena's stability. She was like a layer of high-quality varnish, transparent, protective, giving a glossy sheen to the mundane details of our life. She smoothed over my rough edges. She filled in the cracks of my anxiety with her calm pragmatism. We were safe. We were archival quality. We were designed to last forever, untouched by the decay of the outside world. 2. The craquelure. But even the best varnish eventually yellows. Even the most stable canvas develops craquelure, those fine spiderweb cracks that appear when the surface can no longer accommodate the shifting of the wood beneath. The disintegration began with a visual fatigue. I started to look at our life and see only the surface. The conversations became repetitive brushstrokes I had seen 1,000 times. How was the board meeting? Fine. How was the Tintoretto? Coming along. I found myself staring at Elna across the dinner table, analyzing her face not as a lover, but as a technician. I saw the fine lines around her eyes, the settling of her jaw. I didn't see the woman I loved. I saw a painting that was beginning to age. The silence in the house, once a comfort, became a heavy, suffocating resin. I wanted to scratch the surface. I wanted to peel back the layers just to see if there was anything still alive underneath, or if we were just pigment and binder, frozen in time. 3. The underpainting. Her name was Sophie. She was a modern artist, an abstract expressionist who worked in a studio that smelled of industrial solvents and cheap acrylics. She didn't care about preservation. She cared about impact. I met her when she brought a damaged canvas to my lab for advice. She was chaotic. She had paint under her fingernails. She wore clothes that were stained and torn. She was the antithesis of the museum. "You're so careful," she said, watching me work with a microscopic scalpel. "Don't you ever just want to throw paint at the wall and see what sticks?" That question was the solvent. It dissolved the varnish I had carefully applied to my conscience. The affair began as a rebellion against precision. Sophie was messy. Her apartment was a disaster of color and noise. Being with her was like stepping out of a quiet cathedral into a riot. It was visceral. It was raw. I slept with her on a mattress on the floor, surrounded by half-finished canvases. The sex was urgent, unchoreographed, and messy. I felt a thrill I hadn't felt in decades. The thrill of creating something new, rather than just preserving something old. I felt like I was painting over a finished work, destroying it to make something fresh. I-fee, the glazing. A double life is a technique of glazing, applying transparent layers of lies over the truth to alter the appearance without changing the structure. I became a forger of my own life. I have to stay late at the lab. The solvents are taking longer to evaporate. I'm going to a conference on resin stability. I would leave Sophie's studio, smelling of turpentine and sweat, and I would have to meticulously clean myself before returning to the museum-quality air of my home. I scrubbed my skin. I changed my clothes. I checked my reflection for any trace of the other life. But the most exhausting part was the emotional forgery. I had to go home to Elena and mimic the brush strokes of a devoted husband. I had to smile at the right time. I had to ask the right questions. I would look at Elena, her face illuminated by the soft light of the reading lamp, and I felt a profound dissonance. I was looking at a genuine artifact, but I was a fake. I was a reproduction. I was hiding a crude, violent sketch beneath the surface of a serene landscape. I began to resent her for her purity. Her innocence made me feel dirty, and instead of cleaning myself up, I wanted to dirty her too. I wanted to ruin the painting so I wouldn't have to worry about protecting it anymore. V. The pentimento is when an artist changes their mind during the painting process, painting over an image, but over time, the top layer becomes transparent, and the ghost of the original mistake shows through. The discovery was a pentimento. The truth bled through the lie. I had been careful with the big things, but I had been careless with the pigments. I came home one evening exhausted from the mental gymnastics of the affair. I sat down on the sofa next to Elena. She was looking at my shirt. "You have paint on your cuff," she said quietly. "Must be from the lab," I said, pulling my arm away. We were retouching the background of the portrait. Elena reached out and took my wrist. Her grip was firm. She looked at the smudge of blue paint. "This is phthalo blue," she said. The air in the room stopped moving. "We don't use phthalo blue in Renaissance restoration, Julian," she said, her voice steady but cold. "It wasn't invented until the 1930s. It's a modern pigment." She looked up at me. Her eyes were like X-rays, seeing through the layers of varnish, through the glazing, down to the ugly underpainting beneath. "And it smells like acrylic," she whispered. "You hate acrylic." I tried to pull away, to spin a story about a visitor, a mistake, a mix-up. But she let go of my wrist as if it burned her. "You're not restoring anything," she said. "You're painting over us. You've been painting over us for months." She didn't scream. Curators don't scream. They assess damage. She looked at me with the professional detachment of someone realizing an object is beyond repair. "I can't live with a forgery," she said. 6. The stripped canvas. "I live in a studio apartment now. The walls are white. There is no art hanging on them." Sophie and I ended quickly. Without the contrast of my stifling marriage, her chaos just became exhausting. I realized I didn't want to be an abstract expressionist. I just wanted to feel something. I went back to the house yesterday to collect the last of my books. Elena had packed them in boxes by the door. She wasn't there. I walked into the living room. The walls were bare. The rectangles where our shared life had hung were lighter than the rest of the paint. Ghostly outlines of what used to be there. I stood in the center of the room and looked at the space where I used to sit. I realized then that the boredom I had fled was actually peace. I had mistaken the quiet of preservation for the silence of death. I had taken a scalpel to a masterpiece because I was bored with its perfection. I scraped away the paint, looking for something more exciting underneath. But I scraped too hard. I went right through the canvas. Now, there is no image left. There is only the frame, empty and splintered, hanging in a room where the light has gone out.